England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. Got Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of Anfield gold. We are all supporters, and we come from Liverpool.
Welcome everybody to the match debate. It has been a couple of weeks since we have come together and match debated because we've all been in all sorts. We had the obviously the lull period where we don't know what day it is, what time it is during Christmas and New Year's, and then we've had a bit of a break in between. We've had some games. Georgia's been interstate. Everyone's been doing their thing. Pete's been chewing on pizza as he is right now. So it's nice to see us back again. I am Nick for this one here. Pete is on the left. We've got George down below, and we have first-time comer as well, Elder. First of all, Mr. Kafinas, how was your pizza?
I was starving. I was watching the All or Nothing series, Juventus one.
Yep.
And there was a scene where they're eating pizza, and I just thought, you know what, I need to order pizza. So that's the background story behind the pizza.
And Mr. George, yourself, how is Queensland treating you?
I've just got back actually, so today was like a lot of different things. Had to try and squeeze in right at the end, and also hopped on the plane, got back from Queensland. Queensland's pretty cool. Yeah, it's very hot, but they got the same weather patterns as us. It's just constantly raining and no sunshine. Although today was a little bit sunny as we're leaving, so that's as is. Just classic weather trolling from Australia's lovely El Nino, whatever it is, La Nina.
Yeah, it's
La Nina.
Something like that. Anyway, Brisbane was cool though. Enjoyed it.
And we've got first-time comer Elder as well. Good evening, Elder Moza. How are you?
Hey guys, yeah, thanks. I'm great. Thanks for having me on here for the first time. Really excited to be here. Yeah, saw the tweet. I'm like, yeah, I'm free. Let's do this. Just been playing some basketball today, a bit of pickup games, went to the gym. So, yeah, I'm ready to have a nice evening of chat and then watch this game. Hopefully we come up with a W for the Liverpool game.
Oh, definitely.
If you don't mind, Nick, I was going to jump in there on Elder. Elder, I see you're a Miami Heat fan.
Yeah, I sadly watched them go down to the Sixers today, and we just couldn't stop it. Joel Embiid in the second half. But, yeah, we're doing pretty well overall.
Is this prior LeBron era or when the big three?
Nah. So I actually started supporting, seriously following sports teams back in 2006 with Liverpool when Harry Kewell was balling with Liverpool. And then when Dwayne Wade won the championship, I bandwagoned the Miami Heat. So I have to admit that. Yeah.
That's cool.
Fair enough. There's a
I'm
story
a Lakers
in that.
fan and I hate LeBron, so it's all good.
Right.
Nice. Okay.
I don't follow basketball, but I can support Pete on that sentiment there. But we're not here to talk about basketball. We're here to talk about Liverpool FC, and straight off the bat as well, shout out to Jericho. Good evening, Jericho. Hopefully you are doing well. Y2J for the wrestling fans out there, if you get the reference. But boys, we've had a few cup games in the last couple of weeks. We could have had a couple more. We actually could have had a cup game sooner, if not for Arsenal team unable to field players, or maybe it was us unable to field players. I forget which one it was. It just seems like it's a blur. Every team seems to be dropping at the moment. We know the North London derby was postponed because Arsenal couldn't field a full-strength team or a strong enough team, and then Carragher and Neville on the whole, joined together, and when they're joined together, something's going on there. When even they say, look, you've got squads of 20-plus players, surely you can pull some players together, or 30 plus whatever it is. But we did have a couple of games. First up, it was against Shrewsbury, which didn't start the greatest. We ended up conceding first, but ended up getting the job done. We did have quite a fair few senior players in that squad there. But Pete, I know you're the most critical of the bunch here when you watch us play with tactic and things like that. Against a team like Shrewsbury, straight off the bat, you're thinking, okay, this is an easy win, but it could have gone even worse than that. We could have conceded a few before we even scored our first.
Yeah, it was not us for things to go as planned, is it? It's just not. We just don't do that. I mean, the goal that we conceded, again, was a blind run from the middle of the park, which is probably a broken record thing now. I mean, he got in between Konate and Van Dijk, and maybe it was Konate who didn't really know that he was making that run in the box, but ultimately it was Fabinho who'd lost him from the deeper run. And Fabinho doesn't normally lose his plays. He's usually covering Henderson for doing that. But yeah, just another late run from that middle of the park into our box, ghosting in and for a free tap in. It's something that we've seen happen 342 times this season so far.
Yeah, because with that team, we started with Connor Bradley at right back because Trent was out with Rona, and then it turned out that apparently the rest of the team actually had false positives, and everyone was a little bit suspect of a Klopp over that call there. But, I mean, you're still starting with Van Dijk and Kanate at centre-back and Robertson at left-back, so... I mean, the midfield, you can argue you've had a few youngsters. Morton started on the left, Dixon Bonner on the right, and Fabinho down the middle, and then the front three of Jones, Waltman, and Cade Gordon, who got his first goal for the club, which was nice to see. So a changed team, but you still got Fabinho, Van Dijk, Robertson, even Kelleher, I would even say, is probably a senior player. So you still had enough in that squad to sort of guide the players around them. But you know what, the opposition were up for it, and thankfully we didn't end up conceding anymore. There was that goal that they thought they scored. The second goal ended up being an offside. But apart from that, we ended up getting on top 4-1. Fabinho scored a couple, and I said Cade Gordon scored his first. So can't really argue there. And I think.
Can I just say very quickly? I thought Kanate was shit for that first goal. I think we actually see Van Dijk do it against Arsenal, or it may have even been in the same match where he just comes across and boots the ball like when it's coming across him, and he's usually taking that one. And I think you do see Kanate, because there's a game. What was the game I was watching where it was Coutinho's goal against Manchester, where you see Varane sliding trying to get that. He's trying to get, and if that happens, it's still disappointing because the defender's not in their position, but you can see the slide and you can see he's just missed it. You know, and I think it's shit defending from Varane anyway. But when you see Kanate, he's right next to it. You know, you can see him. He goes for it and he leaves it, and then looks behind him, sees it go into the back of the net, and just so he says to himself, "Crap, that's my mistake." I think it's his mistake all day long. We had the two Liverpudlian commentators, for those who are watching on KO, or even on. I think we had like the Liverpool coverage, the LFC TV Go, whatever that shit app is called. And the Liverpool co-commentator was just roasting Bradley for that. I mean, yeah, the cross comes in, but I just wanted, I think that Kanate is still learning in pockets. So yeah, just going back to that first goal, just thought I didn't think he was fantastic for that, but he was great after that, basically.
Well, I'll get an Elder for this one here, because the goal came from our right side. As I said, Bradley filling in there for Trent. Do you think maybe it was a little bit unfair that maybe he was left a little bit exposed for that goal there, because he came from that side from a cross in, through that midfield. There goes George. His camera's gone. He did say he was going to disappear. But what was your take on the goal we conceded?
Yeah, I mean, look. First of all, someone brought up Coutinho. Shout out to Jared and Coutinho for doing one over on the Manx this morning. That was awesome.
I love you for that.
Yeah. Just gave me good Liverpool flashbacks when I saw that. So back to the matter at hand. Now, this isn't the first time this season or of the previous seasons that we're discussing about Trent Alexander-Arnold just trying to be a midfielder too much and not tracking back. It's the story is getting old, and Klopp really needs to look at it and really make sure Trent tracks back, because it's not fair on the centre backs. Honestly, defending, I'd rather have a really good defensive fullback than one that roams too much. That's my first point. And I know Trent's got it in him. I think he likes the attacking side more of the game, and he wants to be a midfielder in the future, but that's another story. The second part is Kanate is basically Joe Gomez not with the experience yet. He's Fabinho when Fabinho was in and out of the squad, when Fabinho just came from Monaco. I rate Kanate. He's a physical specimen. He's powerful and he's got pace. Great. But on the mentality side of the game, the chemistry is not there quite yet. And that's not his fault, because he's in and out of the squad. So I really can't be too mean on Kanate there. And yeah, I really think Trent needs to play defense more, honestly.
It's Trent there, but we had Bradley starting in that game there. Do you think maybe he's of the same mold as Trent, perhaps maybe everyone playing on that right wing sort of plays that way? Because I don't think I've seen Nico Williams, would it be left or right? I forget which position he plays.
Right,
Yeah, it seems to be always that right wing. Obviously, Robertson's got the engine for it, but that right back position always seems to be the one that's always up against that touchline, helping Salah or whoever's against him there. Or maybe is it the inexperienced midfields, just maybe not expecting the opposition to come at them that way? But yeah, teams coming to Anfield, they're going to go for it any which way.
Yeah. Look, I'm just used. I'm just still stuck in 2019 where we had Hendo and Fabinho and Wijnaldum just closing the spaces, not allowing teams to play around us, and that gave the fullbacks freedom. But I just don't see that as much anymore, and I just really hope that the coaching staff realize that. I mean, Keita can do it, but not as good as Wijnaldum. And the youngsters that we had are still learning, so we have to give them a chance, I guess. It's just Ox. I see Ox as someone who needs to play more. He's more direct. We just Milner again is aging. But yeah, going back to the Shrewsbury game, it's just it's those youngsters just need more experience and know how to play in Klopp's midfield system. Is very different to any other midfield where the defensive work rate is priority. So I think it's that too.
Pete, I want to go to this now. Mention it there with the midfield. We're still stuck in 2019, maybe. The midfield, again, it's an FA Cup game. It's against lower opposition, as it is.
Yeah.
But anyone who steps onto that pitch, if they're training with the first team, they're with the seniors, doing whatever they're doing, surely they should sort of know what the role is playing in the midfield. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, they go through enough training, and there's enough video, and there's enough individual player reports, all the kind of stuff that they all go through to understand their roles and responsibilities. I think that's for I think the midfield against Shrewsbury was Fabinho, Curtis, and I can't remember the other one now. I've gone blank.
Dixon Bonner. You talking about the start?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dixon Bonner. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, and he was the right-sided midfielder of that.
He was right. Yeah.
So it's funny that right side of midfield is kind of the part that always gets torn apart, and so I think that's basically because our right fullback, the responsibility of the right fullback is the outlet, the creative outlet, the one who's meant to start everything and be at the end of most attacks, be the one who delivers the ball. But if that right-sided midfielder is not the person who's doing that defensive duty, sliding in, that we've seen successfully happen, maybe 2018, 19, and 1920 kind of thing, then we're going to be exposed on that side. It's simple. I don't think it's a Connor Bradley's fault or Trent's fault all the time. I think it's something that person whoever's playing that right-sided midfield just needs to understand. Maybe you don't need to be near the box. You need to be covering the person who's like on your right side. So I think that's just a piece that's forever moving, to be honest with you, that side of midfield. But I didn't think it happened too much against Shrewsbury, to be honest. I think the one that really is frustrating me, because we ended up winning that one anyway, is the Arsenal match. And we want to talk about the midfield in the Arsenal match, if we were going to move on now.
Just quickly, a shout out to Firmino for his backheel goal as well, coming off the bench.
Yeah, that's just Bobby all day.
Just because we still are on Shrewsbury, it's really interesting because Tyler Morton's actually the third midfielder, but you mentioned Curtis Jones being in midfield.
On the right wing, rolled in.
Yeah, so what happens is it's actually Morton, Fabinho, and Dixon Bonner, and then Curtis Jones comes in and just grabs Dixon Bonner and says, "Go play left wing." Well, I don't know if that's him or if it's or Klopp's gone, yeah, you're allowed to do that, but it seems like Curtis Jones kind of went, "I want to play midfield right now," and of course, as he should. And I love Dixon Bonner. I don't know, Pete. I think you and me we got excited by him, watching him play for the 23s and 18s before that.
In that UEFA Champions League this year for the youth.
You know what? He reminds me a little bit of this is a weird comparison, but Adama Traore is an incredible footballer and he's an absolute specimen, but for some reason he cannot score or assist. It's just the thing that he's supposed to do. He can't do it. Dixon Bonner, just from what I'm watching, he's got loads of time. He's really young. I think he's 18 or 19? He's got loads of time. But there's a reason why Elliott's in front of him, Morton's in front of him, Cade Gordon's in front of him. We see so many players play before him, and it's just he's not in the right place at the right time. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting midfield shuffle in that Shrewsbury game because they're exciting youngsters, and it was interesting to see Curtis Jones actually take the team almost like as a vice captain and just kind of said, I'm going to put the responsibility on my shoulders. And that's something that we always love to see. And hopefully he's the Gerrard instead of it being Trent, because I think we all got to, sorry, Jericho, but I think, I don't, and sorry, also to our new guest here, I think that Trent is going to stay fullback. He's not going to, he's not going to go to midfield anytime soon. So maybe Curtis Jones can be he can take the number 8 off Keita when he leaves.
Well, if that happens, Pete, you mentioned the Arsenal debacle, and if we're looking at the squad against Arsenal, it was pretty much a full strength squad minus Mane and Salah, who are at the AFCON. But if we're looking at the 11, Alisson was back, a backline of Robertson, Van Dijk, Matip, and Trent, Milner, Fabinho, Henderson in the midfield, Taki on the left, Firmino in the middle, and Jota on the right, which we've seen Jota play on the right. Probably not his best position. He's probably better off coming in off the left. He likes to favour that left side anyways when he's playing forward, but that's probably being a little bit nitpicky. But really, we should have won this game, and of course, Granit Xhaka is inevitable and gets himself sent off in like the 30th minute, whatever it was, and then they're playing with 10 players for 3/4 of a game, and every time we've played against 10 players, I think we've only scored 2 goals or something to that effect. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where we just frustrate ourselves, and we have no option, frustrate ourselves, no plan to action, and you have a sitter in the 90th minute, and it goes way over the crossbar.
So I can't believe it's 2022. And we're starting with Milner and Henderson still in the middle of the park in games that we need potential rotations in.
Right. That's my
point. That's the part that really annoys me. That if I said in our group chat, I watched the game at work with an Arsenal fan before we jumped on the pitch because one of the staff is an Arsenal fan. I said to him, "Don't worry." And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Don't worry. Like nothing's happening." And if I was Arteta, like I said in our group, I said I wouldn't be worried as well because where are the goals going to come from if it's not from the front three? There's nowhere else that's going to happen. We watched us play 55 side-to-side passes for Robertson to try and do a cross that game. He couldn't even cross a bridge if it was there to get across the other side. And there was Trent was trying to deliver as much as he could, but then again, when you're dealing with a 5-3-1 and there's just full compact there, there's no spaces to find someone that's free. So for me, I get really frustrated when the same shit happens every single time that someone wants to sit back and defend. We go side to side for a hopeful cross that goes nowhere, and it's actually getting really frustrating to watch in 2022.
Did you guys watch the City game that happened?
They absolutely took the piss out of Chelsea.
Yep.
But this is the thing: they take the piss, but they're not going to score. And Chelsea have all these Lukaku chances. They had you can basically, if you change Man City into red, you can imagine that being Liverpool, where they're not scoring and they get one dumb chance against them. That Lukaku was, I don't know what he did for that chance where he plays the guy who's offside, and Tuchel absolutely roasts him in the post-match. But this is the difference. Where does De Bruyne score from? And that's where, again, I mean, we'll even though I'm going to backflip here, that's where it is. It's like Trent would be good there. No, none of our players can do that, and that's what we kind of.
Well, Coutinho used to do that for us, so we missed that. I do.
But Georgie, you said it yourself. Why Curtis Jones? He does that.
Oh yeah, true.
But he's got no rhythm, and he's not been trusted with a position in that team. And by the way, he was trusted when he was in form, and then he got an eye injury, and so there's the forever question of the availability of our players or our fringe players when we need them. Divock Origi was in form. Now he's injured. It's just it's constantly an issue with our bench as well. But yeah, you look at City against Chelsea, and you could equate it to how we perform possibly. I know they're a lot better than us at the moment, but there you go. De Bruyne from distance, it was just find that bottom corner. I can see Trent scoring that exact goal from that exact position. He just doesn't play there.
But on that City game, that City held Chelsea some record for them, as in the longest time Chelsea yet to register a shot on goal was in that match as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was over 45 minutes before they actually registered a shot on goal.
Wow.
So for all their whatever it was, they absolutely took the absolute piece out of Chelsea at the same time, making sure they got nowhere near their own goal. Whereas us, people create chances just by running through the middle.
Yeah. That's the frustrating thing. Well, let's go on the midfield case then. The Milner, Henderson with Fabinho. Obviously, Thiago's out. Don't know the whole story with Thiago. He's still injured with the hip injury or he's doubtful or whatever. Obviously, we still got players coming back like Elliott and Jones. Didn't play this game, but he played in the previous FA Cup game. So you're playing pretty much a full strength squad, even though you're playing someone like Milner, who's 36 years old now, Henderson, who's in his early 30s, and that right side hasn't been kind to Henderson in recent months. Pete, I know we've said it, George, we've said on the show as well how often he gets run through. And thankfully, nothing happened on Arsenal's point, but just the amount of attacks moving forward. I mean, it took us 60, 70 minutes to get one shot on target out of the whole 17. I mean, at one point I was driving to work and quickly just flicked through and saw the stats, and I still saw 70% possession Liverpool and no shots on target. Elder, please tell me, what's the go with this attack of ours? Are we still not taking shots from outside the box? I mean, granted, that was probably Arsenal's plan. We don't have Xhaka, we're a man down, so let's just restrict them from trying to take shots from outside the box, but that wasn't even happening.
Yeah, I'm just going back through it now in my head. I was driving to work, I was listening to it on TalkSport, and I'm thinking, man, if it's frustrating listening to it on the radio, imagine watching it. It's just who's going to score for us? That's the question I had in my mind in that Arsenal game, and then that's the question I have in my mind, a serious question that needs to be answered for this morning's game, for tomorrow morning's game against Brentford. I mean, African Cup of Nations.
Ooh, he just
Man,
dropped out.
Klopp is gone.
He just dropped out.
You're back. I think
What
it's
happened
I just to and I'll circle this back with Elder when he comes back on. But I think what he was saying when he was kind of I don't know who's going to score, especially with everybody at AFCON. I think that's the point he was going to make. More importantly, what does a Liverpool goal look like?
Yeah.
I don't know what it looks like anymore. That's the annoying thing. We actually knew we could predict something when Liverpool are in there, at their best. Even in at times this season, we can kind of, you can predict what a Liverpool goal might look like. But right now, I mean, the thing that I see the most is Salah is really wide, even though we were praising that to an extent. I don't know if it was papering over the cracks, but we were praising that switch because it brought Trent inside. And I think all of that was dependent on Elliott learning on that side. And I know we've got a little banner here saying Elliott returns to full training, and everyone's excited. And I love this. I love, who Liverpool's best player is the player that's injured. But it's kind of like
Sorry, guys, I'm back.
Yeah, all good.
That's right. That's right. I was just taking up from what you were saying. I basically just said we don't know what a Liverpool goal looks like anymore, and I'm saying the quintessential image of Liverpool playing right now is Salah is really, really far right. Mane is far left, but then drifts in, and we're nowhere near the goal, and that's kind of annoying. And from there, you can go. I can tell you one thing for sure: Salah's not scoring from the corner flag, even though he did it against City and Watford, and he's done it to a few teams. Chances are he's not going to score from out there. So we need to find a way to make everything a little bit more compact, or at least if we're going to play width, maybe the forwards aren't wide. Maybe the forwards can be inside and Trent can be the one out there, because it looks like when we moved Elliott out wide, they asked Trent, what's your favorite assist? He goes, my assist for Sadio Mane, where he did that, and he goes, I received the ball from Elliott out wide and I'm inside and I did this little flick over.
Yeah,
and he Mane volleys it. Is it? It feels like a Watford or a Norwich or something
I think
like
it was
that.
Crystal Palace, wasn't it?
One of those.
No,
I think it was one of those
yeah.
games. I was at home.
And Trent says it like this. He goes, it felt like the most natural thing to me. So you can see that's what they've been preparing the whole year. And then Elliott has that issue, and it's kind of like this evolution, this youthful midfield has kind of been stalled in a sense. So anyway, Elder, you were saying that no one's going to score because our African players are gone.
Yeah, so African Cup of Nations, it's not like Klopp didn't know this was coming. Why didn't we have some money to invest in January. That's what I'm thinking, especially in this COVID environment that we're all in. Causes uncertainty for players being fit all the time for the leftover players we have in our squad, like Origi and Jota and Miss Amino. Like, I'm sorry, but we really going to rely on those three to be our backup during this crucial January period where titles can be won and lost? How come our coaching staff didn't see this in hindsight? That's what worries me. And then I guess I'm just where are our goals going to come from? I mean, Roberto Firmino is hit and miss, and he's not as consistent as he once was, and that's fine because he's a false nine and he was playing a supporting role for Mane and Salah, which aren't here right now. So we don't have any other clinical finishers besides Salah and Mane. That's my main concern. So we should address that in January. We should be buying players. And when's the last time we bought a great player, attacking great player? We've just bought Thiago and Kanate. So yeah, it's just really strange.
I think it's funny with Klopp's comments when the season started was we're well aware and we're prepared for the AFCON when it comes. And then now asking the other game, it was, if anybody who loses Salah and Mane would struggle. It's like, well, it can't be. Which one is it? Like, were you prepared or are you struggling for it? Like, it's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look,
yeah. Which one is it?
That gets really frustrating. But again, for me, I think with Firmino, if you look at Firmino's goal scoring at the moment this year for the games he's played, I think it's actually goals per minute is actually quite good at the moment for him. So he needs to stay fit now, especially during this period where hopefully Senegal, Egypt, and Guinea just lose every game, even though they haven't. But hopefully they can lose. We want them to lose every game possible. No, but look, it's going back to that whole Arsenal thing there. For me, going back to that 10 men, there's that statistic. I said in the group chat, it comes to 10 men. I think it's 263 minutes against 10 men this year for us, and we've only scored 3 goals.
Yeah.
2 of them were against Manchester United. While we're 3-0 up at that stage anyway.
Penalty against and the penalty against Chelsea as well at the start of the season.
And that was a penalty. So you look at it and you go, why do we struggle against 10 men? Why do we struggle the second someone goes, I've had enough, we're going to sit back now?
That's a good point, George. Any ideas?
Well, this is a thing, actually, because you said the idea of Firmino's fit. I can see here in the comments, Remy says here, Jota will score, though he can be unreliable. Just the idea that I've heard the two names, Firmino or Bobby and Jota. This is the thing. They should be able to play in the same lineup. And we all know the answer to that question. It is, if that is a question, how do you play them together? The answer is 4-2-3-1. However, the 4-2-3-1 has been absolutely dog shit this year. And I'm sorry, because Pete, we're both fans of it. It has been the worst fucking thing I've seen. And I'm the biggest 4-2-3-1 proponent. I'm a child of Rafa. This is, it's the Rafa Benitez, Steven Gerrard's playing it as we see. Kind of like it's a
very successfully, by the way.
It's a 4-3-3 in disguise, essentially, but you're flipping that midfield triangle. If you're using the Brendan Rodgers switch in the triangle. It's been absolutely dog shit. And that's another thing you can prepare for. You've got 4 incredible attackers. I think the way that Klopp wants to play it is he wants to play a front 3 and have one incredible player to bring off the bench. The thing is, Firmino is the system. So why are you bringing him on to influence the game? He should be the system and something else should come on. And then Jota's kind of similar. So the only way you play those 4 and use them effectively, in my opinion, is you play the 4-2-3-1. Why weren't we trialing that? It's been so fucking long. That's the one thing that I'm most annoyed about, is that we have not figured that 4-2-3-1 out. It started working with Coutinho, and this is a long time ago now. We've had and Curtis Jones is someone built for it. Taki Minamino is someone built for it. It feels like, we're kind of putting, square pegs in round holes a little bit. And I feel like, again, when you're talking about how do we get around the 10 men, 4 attackers buzzing around the outside of the box, as opposed to this, we've kind of got that. There's your center forward up here. and then here are your two wingers. Oh, there we go, winger, center forward. It's just like that. Whereas if you've got you've got the three of them and the one like that, you've just got like bees buzzing around a hive. It's like you don't know where they're coming from. Right now, right wing is right, left wing is left, striker's in the middle. It just gets predictable. But we're not. The 4-2-3-1's not working right now. I think that's a way
key
we
word
can
for
break
us,
down.
George. That's actually a massive key word for us at the moment. Predictable.
So
Yeah.
that people
Massive
know,
word.
opposition knows how we're going to attack. They know we're going to go down the wings. The cross is going to come in. So long as you can't get anyone to the ball in the middle of the box, you'll be okay. As long as you stop those supplies from the fullbacks, chances are you're not really going to get anything, especially without Mane and Salah on the wings as well. Because any team that's brave enough to leave gaps for Salah or Mane, they know they're going to be in trouble.
Can I just very quickly answer two questions? First of all, we didn't talk about Cade Gordon in that Shrewsbury match. What a goal. Good on him.
Great
He looks
touch,
like a really
great
good
finish.
player. You know, I hope he... I feel like it felt Salah-like, and I can see Gordon and Elliott are both shadowing Salah, which is really cool because I saw Curtis Jones shadow Coutinho. That's why he feels a little bit like him. Great. Cade Gordon was really cool. And then just this one, if the Ox starts, it's pretty simple. He starts in a 4-3-3 on the right-hand side instead of Henderson because he's been incredible there, and Henderson's been dog shit lately. So, I just wanted to answer those two, but back to you.
What did you say?
He's been dog shit lately. But this is the thing.
Stamp it,
You're not
Pete,
a real
stamp it.
fan.
Not a top red.
The thing is that what I didn't like is that Ox was starting to really own that right-hand side. And he's a right winger by trade back in the day. He's just got that ability to get past and come backwards and forwards. Like Henderson in the system that we had before was incredible there. And he has been incredible at times this season. But this strange transitional period right now hasn't been kind on Henderson. And I think it's more better suited to a more agile midfielder like Oxlade-Chamberlain for the time being. Because we're asking that right centre midfielder to bomb on and provide crosses as Trent pushes infield and as Salah pushes infield, or as Salah goes wide, it's someone going through the channel, which is, we've seen Henderson assist for, I think it was for Jota once before doing that. So I think that's better suited to a more agile player, and also the recovery pace. We really do need that on that side. So anyway, that's the answer to that question.
All right, so as we're moving along here, we mentioned the midfield already. We'll talk about the potential midfield against Brentford soonish, but Pete alluded to it just before. The AFCON updates, Salah got his first goal and Egypt got their first win, I think, this morning. Scored a nice little volley from the left side, not the traditional right side we see him coming in from. Keita for Guinea has had 2 man of the match performances. Pete, what do you say to that?
Stay in Guinea then.
But what if this is a stepping stone and kickstarting his season to Liverpool? As we hear people say,
he's going to be a new signing when he gets back.
It's like a new signing.
It's like a new signing. All three
like
of them
a
are
new
going to be
signing.
like a new signing.
And Mane scored a late penalty in their first game, I think, to win Senegal's game 1-0. So, look, it's look, so far it looks like they're not coming back anytime soon. But
And all three of them are scoring.
Yeah, so it's like
all three of them are not scoring, but doing.
well, they're doing their thing. They're playing games. They're doing their thing. They're doing all right. I hope Sudan wins against Egypt so Salah comes back early. You never know. Egypt are not Egypt at the moment. I think they were saying Carlos Queiroz. I think he's their coach. It's just not the Egypt we're probably expecting. But I mean, Elder, what are your takes? What do you think at the moment when it comes to our boys at AFCON? Obviously, we wished for them to be playing with us, but they're representing their country. But what are you making of their performances so far? Pretty much what we expected from our boys.
Well, I mean, they've won trophies in the past, and they know how to win tough games, whether it be home and away. And I wouldn't expect anything less, to be honest. Anyone who represents their country wants to be the best they can. So, yeah, it makes sense to me to see them performing well, scoring, being man of the match. That's great. Just don't perform too well because we want you guys back. The thing is, this could be a blessing in disguise. Like, the longer we are, they're out there in AFCON, and we just continue to get exposed because we have lack of depth, which we've had for years, maybe that can force FSG to flex their financial muscle if we have any financial muscle left and spend. I mean, I know it sucks. I keep going back to this agenda, but I mean, when Aguero left, they doubled down on Grealish for 100 mil, and even though he hasn't really summited yet or peaked, that's still a big flex, which we need to be doing. I mean, we have to sell to buy, and it's just really annoying. So,
and we've got no one to sell.
yeah.
Yeah. I just want to bring up something you mentioned just then, buying power. Pete, you shared this in our group chat. Since 2019, 41, so that's 4-1, clubs in Europe have spent more on transfers than Liverpool, which also includes 15 Premier League clubs. Now, that's not to say that it's not our net spending and selling players and buying players, whatever, just general spend. 41 clubs in Europe have spent more, including 3/4 of the Premier League. Like, what does that say about Liverpool at the moment? We're just not buying players willy-nilly. Even then, when we're being selective with players, we're waiting maybe a bit too long to get the players we need. Surely we can do something in the meantime to get some players in before that.
What about this? What about this? Chris Wood goes to fucking Newcastle for 20-something million.
Yeah.
As if Origi isn't the best option for them, and as if they wouldn't split. What was going on there? What?
Yeah.
What's the bloke who's leaving us at the Michael Edwards?
Michael Edwards.
What is he taking a holiday? Did he miss that
Edwards.
one? 26 mil. What the fuck?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Don't know.
That should have been a shoe-in. And by the way, Origi would save their season. I mean, he's way better than Chris Wood. Come on. Am I alone here?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
better than Chris Wood.
Man,
Chris
come
was
on. This
glorified, man.
That's
You know what would have
that's too
happened?
funny.
They would have asked for him, and we would have said no. I'm
Speaking
sure that's
of
what would have
transfers, Speaking of transfers, Southern Scouser, Adam, we were having a discussion, George. I'm sure you saw it all when we were talking the other day about transfers and who do we need and what do we grab. Adam, correct me if I'm wrong if you're still listening about about being just fucking and going buy. Like, we're talking about who's available and who's world class and because there's a massive debate of does Salah move as a 9 and we sign a right winger, or does Salah stay and we make the big money signing for somewhere else, wherever it's going to be. And to be honest with you, both the boys in the other Red Sea podcast had like seriously good points. Like I think George and I spoke about Salah moving as a 9 eventually as well, right?
He ventures that way anyways, man, doesn't he? Surely.
Okay, did you guys see the goal for Egypt?
Yeah.
How does that happen? He starts drifting. He goes walkabout, and he goes out to the far left wing, and no one knows that he's there, and the ball gets chipped over, and he can actually volley it on his favoured side instead of having to cut in. So it's not to say that he should be playing left, but he should at least be drifting. But he started that game at right wing, and he drifted in. He started his first game at centre forward and wasn't as effective, albeit against a better team. But go on, Pete. Yep, centre forward. Salah. Why not?
Here he goes, Vlahovic or Martinez, and I understand why they both seem very appealing. I said in the before, Martinez no chance because now he's a god in the Milan fans because he stayed and Lukaku left.
Yeah.
Vlahovic, I don't mind, but if that's the case, why not do both? Why not do like a hybrid move where you sign a 9 that can be multi-dimensional and I know who I'm going to bring up because it suits my agenda, but like in Nkunku, for example, and who can drift from the middle to the right, while Salah can drift from the right to the middle. And then if it's just Jota, for example, who stays on the left and operates as that left person, then why not have Salah rotating in between the two right and left, central and right positions? So that way he becomes harder to mark.
Hang on.
He can rotate with Jota right now. Jota's not too bad on the right. He's not great, but he's not too bad because Firmino has not been fantastic on that right-hand side. We can see he doesn't trust anyone out there, but he does trust Jota. They could even dovetail with each other, but we've never seen it happen, Pete. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know.
Is that legit Firmino linked with Barca for 20 mil? Seriously?
No, that's Firmino. That's the wrong player, I think.
Okay. Firmino's us. Have we stopped our front three rotating? Like, I remember once upon a time, our front three would literally swap positions. Firmino would go left, Salah would go center, Mane would go right. I haven't seen that happen from our front three, or maybe I just haven't noticed it. Is that still a thing for us? Because that's what made us deadly. That's where opposition will look at us and say, fuck, I've got Salah, but he's gone to that side, and now I've got Mane. I've got Firmino here. Now I've got, whatever. Does that still happen for us?
I mean, I thought we were only doing that when we were suffering goal droughts, and then Klopp had to mix it up a bit to appease the fans or try something different, and then the goals came back. But this season, goals haven't been a problem for us for the most part, so Klopp's just kept it at the same positions, I think.
That's fair point. Fair. Just keep it pretty static. Everyone knows their roles, everyone knows their jobs. But
I'll throw a question at everyone in here. I'll throw a question at everyone in here, Nick, and then. Because I got asked again at work the other day because from a neutral fan who's had a proper career in football, and he asked, if you were to watch Liverpool play, let's say 18-19 season, and you were to watch Liverpool play this season, and you had a video to watch both, would you see an improvement? Is there an improvement in performance?
Oh, I personally don't think so. I think we were much better a couple of years ago. I haven't seen anything to say we're any better. It looks like we're almost the same in a way, but some things are just not where probably we need them to be at the moment. I don't know. That's just the way I see it. When I look at us play now, I'm just like, I play how I expect us to play, but even then, like, the results based on what we're used to seeing from this team isn't coming to fruition.
George, know that?
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about 18-19 again. I'm thinking we were almost going to be the Invincibles. This is for the season after, but we were defensively solid with Van Dijk and Matip, and we had just a consistent lineup every time with our Trent and Robertson, and then our front three and our middle three. It just felt like that 2004 Arsenal Invincibles, where it was just impossible to get through our midfield. And I just don't think that's the same anymore in terms of, all right, fine, we re-signed everyone, so technically we can still be that. But I just think it's just the players being in and out all the time is affecting our form. That's what I think it is.
I think they're great points, and I think that makes sense. You compare 18-19 to now. I think you could argue there are a lot of teams. Like, I think football does come in patterns. I know what you're getting at here, Pete, because the short answer is probably no. But this is how this team, this is how Klopp, this is how this whole and they're a team, not just Liverpool as a team of players, but this team as FSG, Michael Edwards, Jurgen Klopp, Pep Linders. There are a few ways in which they want to go about things. The first one is they want a small squad and they want to, sell to buy. But the second one is they want to promote from within. So they want value, but everything is based around value and it's risky. When we're in 18-19, they're sitting there going, we are top of the food chain. If everything goes to plan, then we should be bringing up a youngster and they should have zero pressure on them and they should explode. We bring in Thiago and he's just that little extra bit that we just need on the top, cherry on the top of the cake. But COVID kind of happens and Man City keeps spending, and these are kind of things that are predictable, but Liverpool take the risk. They've taken the risk every single time and it's stupid. I don't know why you keep risking it with this stuff, but they're businessmen and that's what they do. They do calculated risks. In terms of an asset, I don't think they've lost any money from these decisions. If anything, they've gained money. And that's a bit annoying because we're judging them on football and they're judging it on money. And they're thinking if you judge it on money for a long enough period of time, you will be sustainable like Man U, and you're almost too big to be thrown off. Manchester United is still, the fourth richest club in the world, and that's all that matters for those owners. And they can always come back, and we always know that they can. Look, they're on the verge of it. It's hard to topple them over. So maybe these owners don't really care about whether Liverpool win or not. That's why they wanted to go to the Super League. They don't care about winning things. They just care about steady stream of income so that we're too hard to topple over. You come third one season, you come fifth one season, who cares? If you get all of those resources at the same time, sorry, I'm hearing those noises.
Right.
But yeah, that's okay. But if enough of those things kind of work, one of the seasons, then you win. That's kind of the risk that they're playing, but it's shit for us to watch because we're watching a team from 18-19 get worse
Yeah.
See, it's
because
funny.
we're taking those risks.
I find it all funny because the answer should just be yes. We should be getting better 4 years down the track. And look how long
I
it's
thought you
taken to
asked,
answer
have
that.
we got better? I thought
Yeah.
you said, have we got
No,
better?
like
The
it's
answer is
more so
no,
like
yeah.
if you watch a video from then to now, would you see like a massive improvement, right? And the answer is no. And you said it perfect, George. The answer is no. And then there was this big of why, and I agree with every single point. But whilst our main competitor is getting better every single year, not just by their squad, but by their football as well. You can watch a video from City 4 years ago to now, and you can see the footballing differences. How much better they are defensively, and all these other things. How much, and then now they're still retaining more possession now even than they were years ago. So I look at all those things now and go, well, that's you can see it. You can see it. You look at us and you go, well, we still can't beat 10 men. We still struggle with the block. We still go side to side for a cross and hope for the best. We're still overly reliant on Salah, and
And we're dropping 2 goal leads,
we're still not win, and we're still doing stuff that we expect to do. Like
which in
it's
1819 and 1920 was like that was some kind of pipe dream that would never happen. Like if we would
no winning
concede,
all
I
those
would
games
be
1-0.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
That's what I say.
For
That's
me,
what I
that's a
say.
massive issue.
Yeah.
And Adam says like Southern Scouser says a ton of good points, but it's look, I don't know, like for me, and everyone's like, oh, but just it's been fun, trust, it's been fun for us and all that kind of stuff, and but we won a title. Yeah, okay. If you don't want to win a title for another 30 years, then that's your agenda, that's your song to sing. We're at a good stage now where there's only one real strong team in the Premier League in front of us. And we're not that far away, but it seems like we're miles away. So I want to still stay there as long as possible, and we need to compete in every way to stay on top of them. Before, look, they win, we don't beat Brentford. They're 15 points clear.
Yeah.
The title's over already anyway, and I said that from round one early this year. There's no way we can, but it's over already come Jan, and now it's just who's going to finish second.
We always did say they can go on a string of undefeated runs, and they have. And you're thinking 60th minute, 70th minute, okay, against Chelsea at Etihad, and you're thinking, all right, well, Chelsea are putting up a fight here, and then De Bruyne comes up with that, just gem of a goal, just pass in from that left, drifts in and just bangs it from outside. And how we actually got the angles right, I mean, it's hard to say whether Mendy would actually get there, because you got to remember Mendy's all at the AFCON as well for Chelsea, so they had Kepa in goal, so you can probably argue maybe
Keeping.
yeah, you
He
can
goes
probably
one way instead.
you can maybe argue that obviously in hindsight you can argue that maybe that doesn't happen, but look, that's the cards they're dealt. Same with the cards we're dealt. We're going to need goals from somewhere. Midfield as well, we've got players that need to come back from the midfield, and as we said, Thiago is one of them. Fabinho is there. Elliot does return to full training next week. Pete, based on your coaching experience and knowledge, how long until he's probably back from his ankle injury playing again?
Well, if he's starting full training next week, then he should be match ready in a couple of weeks after that. Like if he's back to full training, which means he's full contact, he can do all the running, he can do everything, then he should be available for selection a couple of weeks after that. So it's not too far away. But my whole thing on the whole Kate Gordon Elliott thing is, why are we trying to put all this pressure on these young players nice and early that they're going to be this difference to the season? They're 17 and 18 years old, 16, whatever they are, and 18 years old. Why are we relying on these two players to be some point of difference this season when we shouldn't be?
It's that same thing. FSG are going, how are we going to beat the system? We're constantly trying to beat the system, and I don't think that's how this works. Like it works a little bit for a little bit of time, but
for mid-table, it works.
Yeah, but like I was saying before, there's ways in which they want to buy low and sell high, typical stock market. So they buy someone like Salah at whatever 30, and then he's worth 200. Whether you sell him for the 200 it doesn't matter. I mean, we did it with Coutinho. We can see the same thing happen with Minamino. We were trying to do the same thing with Shaqiri. But that's one way in which they want this to work: buy cheap and then possibly sell high if they're kind of plateauing. The second way is the next cheapest way to do things is literally the 3 people in your academy, and it's the cheap way. We're trying to do it the cheap way. We're trying to be cunning, and We know it doesn't work like that, and it was really cool to see us manipulate the system and get through at one time. But yeah, I think there's a lot of longevity to it because, like, financially it makes sense. But football-wise, yeah, like you said, putting all that pressure on youngsters, that's one of Klopp's missions. They told him you have to
Yeah.
promote in and sell them when they're decent. I mean, we've got an incredible. Our sales from the academy have been decent, but then again, look at Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea have sold £100 million worth. That's how they bought Lukaku. He was net zero, by the way. They sold 100 million last season. That's crazy.
This is an interesting comment here from Southern Scouts. City have won points in the latter stages versus Arsenal, Chelsea. That's what champions do. We have thrown points away in the same periods. Pete, we've mentioned this before in the last couple of weeks. It's us not capitalizing on performances when we really should. When we've got an upper hand to maybe not overtake, but at least keep up with, we tend to always fuck it up somehow and we leave ourselves in this situation. But we do have some games in hand. Remy says here, the title isn't over. That's what we reckon. Says if we win our games in hand and beat City, then it's game.
How many games in hand do we have?
Was it 2 games or something?
Premier League games? How many?
Leeds. That's it.
Okay, 1. How many points
Just
in front
one.
are they?
Yeah, 13.
All right. So that's what?
whatever it is.
10 points. We beat
15.
them down to 7.
Yeah.
So now you're telling me they have to lose another 3 games and that we don't. Like, it's come on, man. I'm sick of seeing that, to be honest with you. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. And in the EPL as well, a game against Arsenal apparently has been postponed. That's meant to be end of February. I'm not sure what the situation is there unless they're going to reschedule that game. That's what I'm reading here from Who Scored at the moment. But Arsenal Vlogs reckons that Liverpool will beat them. They could have Salah and Mane back. Like that game's next week. I don't think it's going to be anything to rave over. I mean, we're going to the Emirates. When's that game being played? On the 16th? Yeah, not 16th, 20th. So a couple of days.
I
later.
can't believe they cancelled their game due to COVID cases. It's unbelievable how they could do that.
Yeah. Well, it must be a conspiracy, Pete. It must be a conspiracy.
I can't believe they did it. It's disgusting.
It has to
Who
be.
would ever do that?
It's not like
I
other
want an
teams have done it before
investigation, by the
Liverpool.
way. I want an investigation to that.
Well, it is on Thursday. Arsenal Vlogs reckon it's going to be 2-1 to Liverpool. But
Not that fucking same midfield starts, no chance.
yeah, not if that midfield, no. Well, depending on the midfield that does start. So Elliot does return. Probably Arsenal maybe a little bit too close for him there. But if all goes well, we've got Palace at home on the 23rd. We've got an FA Cup game. We're away on the 23rd to Palace. FA Cup game at home to Cardiff, maybe there, or Leicester coming to Liverpool on the 10th of February in the Premier League. So we'll see what happens there. This goes to your comment earlier, George, on the buy low, sell high sort of thing. What do you make of this comment here?
Yeah, it's kind of similar to what I said. I said like that's what they're aiming to do, but it's we haven't seen them exactly. Only Coutinho's the only one that they've kind of sold at that moment. I mean, do you want Sadio Mane to leave 2 seasons ago or after we win the title? Probably no, absolutely not. But if he were to leave, the value was there to be had. I mean, we haven't really done it, but when you look at our academy players, when you look at a lot of them, I think that's where Remy, that's kind of where you start to see it, and that's where Chelsea do it as well, where they get in an academy player for 200 grand and then they sell them for 20. It's just ridiculous the amount of money that they've made, and I think that's what FSG want to make. They want to be farming players out, and they want to be, making 10 mil per academy player. That's kind of what I mean by that.
Great example.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Got him from Chelsea and sold him to where'd he go again?
Bournemouth or something?
Bournemouth, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, Bournemouth. Yep.
Unbelievable. Jordan Ibe was 15 mil. Brad Smith was 7 mil. It's crazy. We got them all for hundreds of thousands. I think Solanke may have ended up being 4 because of that case that we had with Chelsea or whoever it was. Yeah, Chelsea.
What about the other guy who won the Champions League, Brewster? He got sold.
Oh, Ryan Brewster, yeah, he was like 20 plus mil or something to Sheffield Wednesday.
So that's the idea of the low and high, where we're starting to see the fruits of those labors, and that's Liverpool want to be good in 5 years' time. We want them to be good now. We've got to balance those two out. We're not going to like the later thing because we want them to win now because it's a really
But
good
5 years
opportunity.
time, George, means you've got to be preparing from now. You can't just be 5 years and we're good again. The 5-year plan starts from now. So if you look at it now, what makes us good in 5 years' time?
Having a world-class manager, world-class squad. We've already upgraded our stadium. But the thing is, Klopp's not going to be here for another in 5 years, right? I'm guessing. So
that
I
just
want to win
defies your
now
own
because
case.
we have Klopp now, who's a world-class manager. So
Yeah.
they should just be, breaking the bank for Klopp's transfers to come in. That's how I see it. While we have Klopp.
Yeah, but the trick is as well when you've got new managers coming in, they always have their own mold of what fits a perfect squad, and it's always like, oh, I came here because I was going to work with Klopp, but if you know a manager's leaving, then you can't use that excuse to say, well, I'm stuck here, and then next manager does whatever. But I think we'll move on from the transfers because we can talk about players in and out non-stop. But Brentford is about 3.5 hours away for us in Sydney. 3.5 hours away for everyone, really.
Everyone.
I should say. Yeah, thinking it's at 1 a.m. here. That's why I'm thinking it's 3.5 hours away. But it is 3.5 hours away from kickoff, and we are playing at home. And dare I say, we cannot have the same midfield that we started with against Chelsea. Peter, surely this midfield has to change. Jones dropping into the midfield, Fabinho, maybe someone like I don't know. We don't have Keita, we don't have Thiago. Is Henderson going to start in the midfield in that case?
So I look at it like that, man. Look at the last time we played Brentford, right? What happened? Let's look at that game. What happened?
We got ran past.
What did they do in that game?
We got ran past.
Yeah, down the right-hand side again. It was twice Henderson was at fault for 2 of the goals. I mean, we're not allowed to say that because it means you're not a fan, but it's the truth. So I'll be looking at that again. And if I was Brentford's manager, who's actually a quality manager, I'll be looking at doing the same thing over and over again. So how do you counteract that? You change that. You change the weakness of that match. And so for me, I'll be putting Ox, like George said earlier, I'll be putting Ox in that right-hand side of that midfield. Fabinho obviously is the mainstay. Then either you put Curtis, if you want to put Henderson on the left, I'm not too sure. Up to you. I'm sure he's going to play him somehow, some way. But I would be changing that midfield 100% for this match.
It's either got to be a change in personnel, and I would go Oxlade-Chamberlain on the right. I think he's been really good since that Arsenal match. I think he's been really, really good there. It's just that the manager wants to get his captain on the field, and I think there must be an advantage from a tactic, maybe from an instructional point of view, where Henderson is able to maybe like a general is able to give orders and whatnot. That must be what's happening. That's what the manager sees as indispensable.
Point at other players that you don't mark. Yeah.
But if it's not going to be Oxlade-Chamberlain, then we have to see a change in the system where Henderson isn't being asked to press all the way forward in one movement and then being asked to track back in the next movement. He's got to stay in that position. And if he's staying there, then we're not winning the ball up high. And so then we've got to figure out, do we need to then push the defensive line up? It's either a change in system or a change in personnel. I think if you're going to play Henderson, you got to change the system a little bit. There's got to be a tweak there because the midfield seems to be too high, and then they can't get back when that transition happens. Because I don't know what that reason is. But yeah, either that or just play Oxlade-Chamberlain there. He's a bit better at the moment.
Well, if we can assume that we're going to have a straightforward keeper and backline of Alisson, Robertson, Van Dijk, whether it's Matip or Kanate starting, maybe Matip even, you can pick any one of those three, and Trent will be back as it was for the Arsenal game. The midfield we spoke about. Unless you play maybe Fabinho, Chamberlain, and Jones, or is maybe too attacking for a team like Brentford who do like to come at you, even though they've lost 4 of their last 6 games or something like that, and they got pumped 4-1 or 3-1 last week. Otherwise, Jota, Firmino, maybe Taki, or will he be benched for his miss against Arsenal? I don't know, but playing Firmino down the middle is a no-brainer. But then where do you put Jota? Do you put him on the right or the left? If you're playing Jones, if you're playing Jones, he's got to be in the midfield. He can't be playing on that right wing, because I don't think right wing suits him that well.
Don't be surprised if we Chamberlain at right wing.
I don't want to see that though. I don't want to see that.
The possible lineups. This thing. Hold on. I want to see if you can. I can't share my phone these days.
What do you think, Elder? What do you think?
Looks like Chamberlain on the right hand side there.
There you go.
Possible lineups. So Eldar, we can't hear you.
He's muted himself.
You're on mute.
I'll unmute him. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm hearing you now. Go on.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be those two lineups we already mentioned. So you've got Jota on the left, Firmino as your false nine, and then Ox on the right. And then you've got Henderson, Fabinho as well. And then, look, I think Ox will be better in the midfield because he'll be more direct. And because we drew 0-0 against Arsenal and we're playing at home, the onus on the fans are going to expect us to have a more offensive performance. So I can see that with Henderson starting on the bench and Ox being that talisman in the midfield to really be direct, run. Because I remember Ox in the Champions League when he burst onto the scene for Liverpool and he was able to just run past players and score from outside the box. Why can't he do that? Jones can do that too. You know, like we need that that other threat. So I'm hoping that, and then we'll have Taki on the right and Jota on the left. So that's the lineup I want. I don't know what Klopp's going to do. Maybe Klopp will put Minamino on the bench and trust in his captain Henderson. I reckon Klopp will do that, but I want Ox in the middle. So.
Pete, where are goals going to come from in this game if we are to score some goals against a team like Brentford? And they are playing Ivan Toney, who has been one of their standout players. But as I said, they've lost 4 of their last 6 games, something to that effect. And they just they've conceded at least 2 goals in their last 6 away matches. And there have been over 2.5 goals in our last 6 home games, or 6 out of 7. So there are goals to be had. Where are the goals going to fall, though? That's the question.
Look, I think there's plenty of goals still available. If Jota is on the left, Bobby's down the middle, down the right, whether it's Taki who can potentially move in and rotate between lines, which we know that he's very good at. We just got to add one of those midfielders that can score a goal. It's got to be... for me, it has to be a Curtis Jones or Oxlade. One of them has to start in this game. And as much as, Ox, prior to his 6-week patch where he was on fire, I didn't want him anywhere near the starting 11. And I had a conversation with George about it. But when in that form that he was in, no one in our team, no one in our squad was doing what he was doing. No one. Driving forward, breaking lines, taking the shots. So you think to yourself, well, we need that from midfield if the front three aren't working for now. So someone just to spark something up. So why not play Ox there if you have to play Henderson because whatever reason he's got naked photos of you and he's going to leak them if you don't play him. Then the other one has to play because the other Nick's gone. Nick's like Nick, stay with us. So it's something that for me, then one of Jones or Ox has to start in that midfield because we need some. If Milner starts, I'm gonna fucking rip my hair out.
Yeah. Nah, I don't think he's gonna start, man. No chance. No chance.
I mean, wishful thinking would say, if you play this like a video game, championship manager style, what would be interesting was to put Joe Gomez right back. I'm so against that, but that was because we didn't have any centre backs.
Right wing. Trent
and
right
then you
forward.
You put Trent right center midfield, and you play with a pseudo back 3. Trent is kind of like a wing back by playing right center mid, and then whoever the hell wants to play right wing. But I mean, despite when I was saying before that Trent's not playing in midfield, it's just because I know Klopp. Right? He's just not transferring the best right back in the world into a midfielder right now. I just don't think it's happening. But I think this midfield needs a Trent-like player in it, this Liverpool midfield. So that would be fantastic.
On you're saying Elder?
Yeah, creativity. Spot on. So
what's that?
Someone who can play that, create chances. What? Am I muted again? What's funny?
No.
No.
Pete, he's like, what's that? What's creativity?
Because he hasn't seen it in so long, so he's forgotten.
We forget what
creativity
Liverpool
looks like.
Yeah,
what is creativity? Yeah, we need like Mozart, Picasso. We need creative people in our squad. Someone who can paint a picture. We need like key passes, key assists that aren't coming from, because all of our assists are coming from Robertson and Arnold. We're like way too predictable, right? So Yeah, we just need more ideas in the mid. Hey, and by the way, Fabinho scored 2 goals against Shrewsbury, so he can score from long range. Don't be surprised if Fabinho tries to get in on the act. It's going to be an important game for a lot of. They're playing at Anfield. Like we haven't. When's the last time we even won in the league? Like we're down in form, and two of our best players are not playing. So it's a very important game for our other players who aren't always in the limelight. It's the time for them to grab their chance and really staple themselves as a starting 11 player. I'm talking about Jones. I'm talking about Ox. Hey, this is a great opportunity for you to get a starting 11 spot. Let's be consistent with your performances, create, assist, score, do whatever you got to do, and just want it. And the same goes for Taki. You don't want to be bouncing in and out of the squad. That's not why you're here. Now's your chance to grab that opportunity. I really want to see that from Liverpool tonight, and hopefully we do.
Yeah, just to answer your question there, Elder, last win we had was 3-1 against Newcastle on the 16th of December. After that, we had a 2-2 draw against Tottenham. We had the 3-3, that was in the EFL Cup. So we had the 1-0 loss away to Leicester. We had the 2-2 draw to Chelsea. And now we take on Brentford. So it's been a few weeks since we've felt
throw the
a
Arsenal
win.
game in there and the Shrewsbury game. We've won 1 out of 6.
There you go.
When's the last time that's ever happened since Klopp took over? Like, this is unknown territory for us Liverpool fans. Like, the panic alarms are on right now. We need to win tonight for our insanity, honestly.
Last season, the capitula was the last season when everything turned to shit and we lost
This time
6
last
home
year.
games, 6 home games in a row. We lost it. I don't want to see a repeat of that. Do not want to see a
I
repeat.
went to I did some surgery on my brain. It just erased my memory. So yeah.
That's smart. He used the neuralizer. It's flashed the light. Well, we had the 0-0 draw against Arsenal. We had the 4-1 against Shrewsbury. We're taking on Brentford now. It's a Premier League match. We need to get back into it. The crowds are back again. Hopefully, it's a full-strength squad. Look, we don't have our 3 Africans, but hopefully the rest of this team can come together and pull something, and whoever's going to be playing, going to be scoring goals. What I don't want to see, which I've seen time and time again, I've referenced this many weeks over and over, is us conceding from the first chance the opposition gets, because I've seen it happen a couple of times and it's frustrating as hell, and for us to take 3-4 chances in order for us to score a goal. So clinical finishing. Any final words, gents? I'll go to you first, Peter.
Hopefully this doesn't drag on this question, but what are the thoughts on the current atmosphere that keeps getting questioned when you've got Arsenal fans asking, is this a library?
Oh man! Or literally, there was a joke once upon a time. It still happens now, where it's like the Anfield atmosphere. They sing "You'll Never Walk Alone" for 3 minutes, and then it's all quiet. Like that's literally what it is sometimes. It's been like that for the last season or two. I think after COVID, even when fans came back into the stands, it's been very subdued, very quiet. Apart from, even you could argue, even the European games, like even they're a little bit quiet as well sometimes. You just don't see the yelling and the shouting, being on top of teams like we've seen in the last 2-3 years.
Okay, so then we can go to why crowds react and shout during game. They react to midfielders, defenders making a play, winning, doing a intercept, winning back possession, even doing like a side a tackle from the side and drawing a yellow card and trying to get into the face, trying to get back into a game. I mean, maybe the players need, the onus is on the players to kind of do those effort plays, and then the crowd reacts to those plays, and then the chance come. So maybe the more work rate is needed. But yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, I do miss that, or the chance.
Yeah, I think we can comment on it from the outside. I think we can say what's going on. We're allowed to question it. I think it would be great to get, someone who goes to the game week in, week out to explain what they feel is going on in the ground, because, I think we've got as much of a right as fans in the UK over here in Australia to have our say on the atmosphere, to kind of either question it or have a chat about it. But I still do feel like we are a little bit on the outside looking in. So, part of me also does want to bite my tongue a little bit and just ask to go, what is it supposed to like? Do you guys think this is good enough? Like, should this be louder? Are the chants being directed in the right way? I don't know. Like, I would love to get the opinion of someone who goes to the match week in, week out. It would be great for us maybe to get someone on, in the future.
That would be sick.
Just to see what they feel, because I'm seeing a lot of it on Twitter from people who are in the ground and they're disappointed. And I want to know why. Like, what's the, does it come from, have we forgotten how to sing because we've been away? Are people tired? Do people have COVID? Like, they can't scream? Or I don't know. Like, I don't know what the reasoning is. Like,
it's funny you bring that up. I had a friend of mine, Andrew, who was at that game. He was at one of the game. He was at the Tottenham game, actually, the away one, and he said the away atmospheres have been actually a lot better than the home ones.
That's always been the case, though, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That's always been the case, and you hear it. Like, for example, the lads at the Anfield Wrap obviously go week in, week out, and that's what I'm kind of getting at. It's it's interesting to hear from people. We're the Red Sea Down Under. We give the opinion. Like, the game starts in 3.5 hours only for us, not the rest of the world, because it's on 1 o'clock in the morning. So we have our different opinion on it. But I do hear them say all the time it's been like that since for a long time, that the away support is usually better. But this is a moment where I think the power of Anfield could be used. And that, what, when Liverpool were a bit toxic and Klopp had to fix us, we saw him interacting with the crowd a lot. And he actually demanded that they didn't chant his name until he won something. And now he's won something. And it's kind of like, I think, the fire from the manager into the crowd. We saw Pep doing it. He's like, we need the fans. And then he got roasted by every Man City supporter, all 8 of them. And on the eve of Jim Beglin saying the empty had on live TV. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, that was so good. I thought I
troll.
misheard him. And then he corrected himself. I'm like, oh, my God, he said it. He
that.
corrected himself. He said Eddie had afterwards. I'm like, yes.
Yeah,
Well,
yes.
Peter, they call it the empty hat for a reason.
But I think that there could be a moment here. Maybe, I don't know if Klopp needs to address it, or even if Klopp doesn't address it, he came into this club knowing that was a power. It was one of, like, you can have powers all over the pitch. You can have a great striker, you can have speed, you can have tactical acumen, you can have great goalkeeping. You can also have a crowd. It's a power. It's a superpower, and we haven't been utilizing it to its full potential. I'd say that much, but I would love to ask someone who goes to the match what they think, how they think it can improve, and why they think it's it is the way that it is. And maybe it's as simple as, like what Elder was saying, maybe it is the players need to be doing more big things, like put a fucking tackle in, don't get a red card. I think that's what Robertson
how many red
was trying
cards
to
have we
do.
got this season? How many yellow cards have we got this season? Yellow cards are an important part of the game. It kind of dictates what the players are trying to make a point. Is like, I really want to keep this clean sheet. I'm not going to let you get past me. I'm willing to take this yellow card. If you don't take the yellow card and it's a 1v1 or whatever, we concede, you're meant to take them down. Kind of thing.
Well, this is what I don't like. We're not getting yellow cards for big hits and like fair hits. So what I'm talking about is going in, because you won't get the yellow card for this, by the way. Go in with your shoulder and hit them in the back with your shoulder in the back and put them on their ass. Do that 3 times. You know who's doing that really well? Is his name? Is it Bradley? Is it Connor Bradley? Is that the right back? Is that our fullback? He's got a bit of Gerrard in him as well, doesn't he? He feels a bit Gerrard, doesn't he? He's got the long legs. He's kind of likes to get past his man. But he was putting in those scissor tackles. Like, maybe we need a bit of that. I agree. Not just dirty yellows, like the one, like this. Not just cynical yellows. I want dirty yellows. Like, hit them hard.
Well, at the moment, Fabinho and Robertson are 4 yellows each. Obviously, Robertson's also got that red card, so that's the attack.
That's right.
That's we've had 28 yellows in the Premier League this season, and the 1 red.
How many yellows has he got, Robertson? 4?
4 yellows, yeah.
So that means 2 of his yellows were in that one match because he got the double yellow card, or was it? No, he got a straight red, didn't he? It got changed to a straight red.
Yellow first and straight red, then is Fabinho, and then we've got a couple on twos, like Mane, Van Dijk's got a couple, Kanate, Tsimikas and Henderson. But, it is what it is. We're going overtime now. Quickly, score predictions. Elder, what is your score prediction for the game?
Well, I mean, I would like to say 2-0. That's what the bookies are saying. If we go down 1-0, they will park the bus. And then if we get a draw 1-1, 96 minute, I'll be happy with a 1-1. But my first priority is 2-0, please.
Yeah, see, I can't afford to have them score first. George, prediction?
See, we don't have the firepower. If we had our front three, I would have predicted 3-0. But maybe we go 3-1. Maybe 3-1. But I you know, fuck that. 3-0. Let's go 3-0.
Peter?
Draw.
Score? Just draw.
Just draw.
Draw. I was going to say 3-1 as well. I'm thinking 3-1. I think we will concede. It's going to be like 2-0. We concede 1, just 7-0. Hey, we absolutely pumped Palace last year 7-0 before we turned to shit. So anything's possible, I guess. And that was unexpected, wishful thinking. I think the main thing is 3 points is important here. We can't afford to start sluggish, and it's a midday kickoff. Not a midday kickoff, it's an afternoon kickoff. So yeah, on a Sunday. So no excuses for people to be like, oh, it's a midday kickoff and Klopp coming up with all these, early afternoons. Scrap that. You got a game to play. Be professional. Play it. Gentlemen, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you for joining us, Elder. Hopefully, you enjoyed your little stint on the show.
Yeah, thanks, man. That was great.
Definitely have you back again.
It's been fun.
Anytime. And we'll wait and see what happens in this result, and stay forward with the socials. Follow us at Red Sea Down Under and the main page at the Red Sea Pod on Twitter, and that's where you'll find out when we will be on air next. Plenty of shows happening from the boys overseas and also from us in the coming days, but we'll wrap it up there. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Brentford awaits in just under 3 hours just for us, but 3 hours for everyone else around the world. I'll wrap things up. See you later.
Good night.
Tell the world we are Liverpool.